Stop me if you've heard this before.
Stop.
A foreigner moves to America. No, wait. He applies for a green card to move to America. And then that takes 2 or 4 years, so we've got some time before I get to the punchline. The immigration debate isn't exactly a new conversation in America, but lately that debate has gotten even more heated, what with talk of travel bans and multi-billion-dollar border walls. Lots of people have their own ideas about the solution to the so-called illegal immigrant problem, but few realize or care how the immigration process in America actually works.
Well, thank God you're here to explain it for us.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. For those who aren't in the know, why can't they just get in line to come here legally? Seems like a pretty reasonable question. But this isn't the old-timey days when 98% of people who showed up to Ellis Island were let into the country.
Yes, the times have changed, and therefore the laws have changed.
Today, America's immigration process is super long and super expensive. Follow me, if you will, through the hellish landscape that is green card land. It's like Candyland, only way more depressing.
You know what? I'm just gonna do you a favor and edit the rest of your lame jokes out of this. No need to thank me or anything.
So you want to live and work in America. There are several ways to achieve this, and none of them are easy or necessarily guaranteed to make you a citizen.
You're right, Franchesca. But it's not meant to be easy. And citizenship is not guaranteed to anybody born outside of the United States. To make it more clear, the United States does not provide the right to become a citizen to just anybody.
First, you've got to figure out what kind of tedious application journey you're about to embark on. Let's talk about a few. If you're from a country with a low immigration rate, you could apply for the Green Card Lottery, in which over 11 million people worldwide each year apply for only 50,000 available visas.
Oh, what a tragedy. Yeah, could you imagine an additional 11 million people each year entering the workforce and depressing wages? I mean, unemployment would soar. Have you ever considered that maybe the 50,000 a year is by design?
But for argument's sake, let's say you apply for the lottery and don't win. You could file an employment-based application. All you need is an eligible employer in the United States to sponsor you and pay for the application process and prove you're not taking away a valuable job from a U.S. citizen.
So let's imagine a country that takes on 11 million foreigners annually. And as they get more and more jobs, the natural-born citizenry of the country is finding it more and more difficult to get jobs. And you're telling me that there is nothing wrong with that picture?
Don't worry, this will only take like a year to get approved by the Labor Department if you have a master's or PhD, and only 2 to 5 years if you don't. Plus, you have to be outside the US if you don't have lawful status. And on top of that, you haven't even applied for the actual visa yet. Isn't waiting for years on slim hopes the best?
I know, Franchesca. You see, I wanted to be a talk show host, but instead I'm a fox. But I guess the point is that you just don't put all of your eggs in one basket.
But if you're really special, you can apply for a shiny EB-1 visa. That's for aliens of extraordinary ability. Basically, anyone who's managed to excel in the arts, business, academia, or athletics, and fits at least 3 of 10 special people requirements. Or they've made a cool one-time achievement like winning a Pulitzer, an Oscar, or an Olympic medal.
That's because we want the cream of the crop, the best of the best. See, we're not content to take just any old tribal shaman or Sharia dirt farmer.
Let's say maybe the employer thing didn't work and your Pulitzer was lost in the mail. Well, you could have a family member petition for you, if they're already living in the United States legally. If you're flying solo, your last option is to find a spouse. Just be prepared to prove it's real. Contrary to every 90s sitcom sham green card marriage plot, the whole process doesn't take place in 30 hilarious minutes, but over the course of several months to a year. And you may even have to prove it again 2 years later if you haven't been married that long.
I wonder why that is. Maybe, Maybe it's because there's people out there that would exploit a man to obtain their citizenship. Maybe that's not so nonsensical as you make it out to be.
Did I mention the cost of all of this? Because no matter what application you file, it's going to be a pretty penny. A standard green card application costs $1,760, and a lawyer to walk you through the filing process can run you anywhere from $500 to $10,000, depending on how complicated your case is going to be. Plus, there are literally hundreds of different forms that you may have to file, and all of them will cost something. You'll be shelling out money on fees to the government, lawyers, passport photos, biometrics, mailing costs, and so on, all while trying to, live your life.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that that's just the cost of business. You see, I'd rather immigrants pay more money to legally immigrate to the country than for me to pay higher taxes so that immigrants can get into the country and make it harder for me to get a job. That's just me, though.
Alright, so let's say you've managed to raise the money to pay all the fees and maybe get a decent lawyer. You've gathered all the necessary documents and filled out your applications to the best of your ability. Good job on answering no to "Are you a terrorist?"
And that right there just illustrates how difficult it actually is to vet an extremist, but that's a different subject for a different time.
The Department of Homeland Security, which now manages immigration, is notorious for its backlogged, outdated system. An application can get rejected for all kinds of reasons. Maybe your passport photos aren't the right size, or you forgot to check a box on page 19. And even if your application is perfect, you can wait up to 4 years for a response, and in some cases, even 10.
Okay, I'll agree with you that, maybe the system isn't quite streamlined. But as far as filling out the required fields, come on. Would you expect an employer to hire you if you didn't fill out all the required fields on the job application? And why should we let people into the country that don't fill out all the required fields on their immigration forms?
Look, America is a country of immigrants.
Oh, fuck off. No, it's not. Most of the people living here are born in this country, and it doesn't fucking matter if their ancestors were fucking immigrants or not. It does not make them immigrants.
Except Native Americans, of course.
Why would they be any different? Their ancestors came from Asia, after all.
And African Americans who were, brought here against their will.
No, they're still immigrants. Whether they came here against their will or not is totally irrelevant.
Obviously, undocumented immigration is a complex issue, which means there's no easy solution. But maybe before building a wall or issuing highly specific travel bans, we should focus on building a better system for welcoming new folks in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here on Decoded.
So that's it? You just pose a problem and bitch about it without offering any solutions? Why am I not surprised?